Hi there, and welcome to the ATS podcast with me, Will Brown, and John Soulsby, where we break down chunks of health and fitness information into bite-sized pieces, remove a bunch of the noise, and just leave what's relevant. Today we are on episode 23, but technically it's season 2, episode 1, new year, new podcast. And
Yep.
unlike normal, we're not going to start with the off topic, just because we did notice that we were getting quite frequently carried away with the off topic and probably giving it more lip service than the actual topic of the whole fitness podcast. So we're just going to
Yeah,
try and stay
100%.
on topic. Uh, so this week's topic in our little brief podcast summary thing is mindful eating. And in my notes, I've got what, how, and why.
Yep. So I suppose it starts off with the easiest. Like, what would you say mindful eating is
So
for people that have never heard of it before?
yeah, I frequently got this confused with intuitive eating. They're kind of like in the same ballpark, but the difference is in the details. Like the devil's in the details a little bit. The mindful part of mindful eating is specifically catered to, ha, eating puns, specifically relevant to your, I guess, presentness when eating. As much as it does sound like a bit of a meme, a lot of, I think, was it, I can't remember what the kind of damage on the actual literature and studies were around it, but I'm sure people have looked at stuff like ghrelin levels and satiety responses in people that eat whilst doing something else. So if you're somebody who frequently eats while watching TV or sitting at your desk doing work, like that's a classic. Like people take their breakfast into work or have their breakfast at work, like they bring it with them and then sit at their desk and eat it, like kind of whilst they're reading the morning emails and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I literally did that this morning. Sorry
Yeah,
for this.
I literally did that like 2 hours ago. Um, the satiety response and actual hormone levels, ghrelin, I believe, if I recall, again, I don't have my perfect dictionary definitions in front of me, as a hormone related to the feeling of fullness and hunger. I believe it's one of the two. There's two of them that work. One of them's a fullness one, and one of them's a hunger feeling one. I can't remember which is which. Um, However, some
Um,
folk find that the response and levels of those is affected by if you essentially eat whilst distracted versus if you just sit and like actually focus on eating and enjoying the thing.
yeah,
Why this is kind of relevant is that if some people are very bad for eating distractedly and also are looking to put together some sort of dietary intervention to change kind of how they look and feel and how much energy they have and various other things about their health, it's a fairly free and easy way to potentially improve that, especially if you lean very heavily into the distracted eating. And given that I don't know about you, but I personally get very, very annoyed when people sit and eat whilst on their phone, especially if you are eating with them and it's like you're actually going out somewhere and you're like, cool, like I thought we were going to lunch, but apparently you're just coming to scroll Instagram, but I'm here at the lunch type thing.
oh yeah.
But yeah,
Holly semi-regularly gets her phone yeeted across the living room.
Gronk spike the phone. Hiya!
Yeah,
The But yeah, not to be confused with intuitive eating, which would be your ability to compose meals, portion size, and essentially eyeball a diet without any formal tracking of macros, calories, or anything else. As in, you just eat intuitively and it works out. Which,
yeah,
given that the UK has an obesity problem, I'm going to say doesn't work most of the time.
yeah. I'd say the only time that works is for traditionally people who have either tracked for a very long time, so have a very good idea of what constitutes like what the portion size.
Hmm.
Um, or if you're kind of just like you don't have a body weight goal, you're just like meh. So
Yeah,
you're just like, yeah, I'll just eat this. I feel like this. That's great.
I'm
I won't
doing
have
that
too much.
kind of currently, cause
Yeah.
as we discussed earlier, I was signed up for another powerlifting comp, or the first powerlifting comp in like 7 years or whatever. Um, and I again got on the scales. I kind of roughly track whether I take various interventions with my diet just based on how I look. Really, like there's like a level of softness that I am tolerably okay with, and there's a part where if it gets a bit rowdy, I'm like, nah, this is out of hand. We're doing something about it.
Yeah.
However, typically that pretty much just involves minimizing social eating in terms of like not just absolutely using it as a license to go nuts and replacing any time I ever eat anything that's remotely a snack food with just a piece of fruit.
Yeah.
Like in any situation where I'm stood in front of a cupboard that has snack based things in it, I'll just be like, this isn't fruit, and just go eat a piece of fruit instead. And unsurprisingly, the weight strips off pretty quick. The weight and body
Yeah.
fat strips off pretty quick when you replace eating whatever biscuits and or cake you eat in a day with just 3 or 4 pieces of fruit.
And better for you.
Oh
Just
yeah,
double it.
100%. Tons of micronutrients and stuff.
Yeah.
And again, to be fair, I like fruit. It's literally
Yeah.
mostly just it's there so I eat it type thing when it comes to fucking junk food.
Yeah, I usually find that as well.
The but yeah, so basic intervention for mindful eating would be starting on one meal a day. That's usually how we start with like very basic interventions if people are really new to this. Would just be, especially if you typically find yourself quite hungry at, if we're talking from breakfast till lunchtime, is essentially instead of sitting down and eating, I don't know, your cereal and protein shake or your overnight oats or whatever you happen to be up to, uh, in front of your computer screen or in front of your laptop or in front of the TV, just like stand in your kitchen and eat it. Just don't have your phone on you. Don't like doom scroll your way through Instagram or Facebook Reels or whatever you get addicted to. Just no screens. Just kind of stand there and just focus on eating it. And see and try to notice how you feel around lunchtime after like a week or so of doing that and see if there's any improvement. Could be that you notice a big difference, could be that you're like, meh, didn't really notice much difference at all.
Yeah.
But it could be something useful you want to get into. And I think that pretty much covers it. So we will probably see you folks in the next episode, episode 24, where
Yeah.
we'll be talking about creatine and how to skirt the natty border as close as
Oh, the
possible.
gateway to roids. Yeah.
The gateway drug. So we will see you then.